Yalla Home
with Anna Schofield.
Big House.
Ah, there it is. The music of splendour on Yalla Home on Pulse 95. Anna Schofield for 3 hours, 3 till 8. Stay with me. Has having a well-earned day off. All right, so I feel that everyone is talking about The Crown. Maybe it's just me, but I don't feel like it is. But there's a lot of people around me, not all of them British, are talking about The Crown. And I thought it was really funny yesterday when I started banging on about it. I'm only 2 episodes in because I have to watch it with my daughter. And we have a pact that we won't watch it without each other. And when you've got a 10 o'clock bedtime and a mum who doesn't get in till nearly 9 o'clock, that's a very small window to fit these things in. Anyway, what's interesting is the reviews that are coming out gradually as the whole thing unfolds. And what's even more amazing is being able to have the honour to sit next to one of my dear friends, Ray, from the Philippines. And he's obviously here 24/7 at Pulse 95. We talk about Ray and Double R, our dearest of dearest engineers who are here all the time at Pulse. And the thing is, you become friends with people. So we have the honour, I could never say in the UK, oh yeah, my dear friends from the Philippines. It just didn't happen. But living in the UAE, you get the mix of cultures. But never did I expect the immortal words, I love the Crown, to come out of Ray. And that's when I sort of realised that actually all cultures are watching it because it is the British royal family and they are nuts. I mean, let's all be honest. They're not, yeah, he's laughing. But they are nuts. What goes on and what has gone on over the centuries within that family, the story writes itself. And this is why it's really interesting. Up until now, every single series of The Crown has been met with the royal family and the aides and Buckingham Palace insiders kind of going, yes, it's quite a fun watch. Until season 4, which is the one we're on now. And sources now close to the British royal family and within have said that several members are upset with this 4th season. And in particular, Prince William is very, very upset about how his mother's been portrayed. And it's Prince William that has said he feels it's exploitative and it's exploiting his parents' marriage and presenting it in a false way. That's really interesting. Lots of insiders have said that some of the scenes are so stupid. And there's no need to put silly scenes in because actually the story is so crazy if you think about it. And I was just talking to Ray about this. You have a situation where a man, Prince Charles, was in love with a lady called Camilla years and years ago and couldn't be with her and was told by his family to marry someone he not only didn't want to marry but didn't know. So when she was then taken to, because she was very, very young, so she's about 18, 19, she's taken to Kensington Palace to live as soon as the news broke that she's engaged to the up-and-coming King of England. Prince Charles is supposed to be the next King of England, if the Queen ever allows him. And she's 92, I think, and sitting there and hanging onto the throne. Very funny. Anyway, that's a whole issue in itself. So they moved Diana in, but he doesn't want to go home to Diana, doesn't know Diana. So he goes home to Camilla, who he loves and who he wants to see. But of course, that then isn't actually, that's cheating. Now, that was the words of Ray. And he said to me, well, what do you think about Princess Diana? Now, I'm English, so I could be here for an hour. So I briefly said, well, I don't think she was completely innocent in all of it. However, I don't think the family were very nice to her. I don't think it's their finest hour. But I definitely feel that making Prince Charles marry her was just one of the worst decisions that could ever take place. And Ray said, yes, that's the feeling he was getting, that Princess Diana wasn't treated very well by the family. But one of the things that was amazing to hear was he said, I really like the way they put sentences together. So I said, what do you mean, Ray? He said, I'm learning new words. And I said, all right, give me an example of words you're learning. And then you came out with a quote, Ray, didn't you? You said, good things come to those that wait, or all good things come to those that wait. And it was the way she said it that you liked. You feel it's very beautiful and very poetically. And you know what? It is. If you think about the way we speak now, and, I sit here next to Big Hass every day, who is so super cool and so hip hop. So he's all like, yo, 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 I'm street, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. He's got the street fingers, he's doing the hands. And then I sit here going, well, yes, of course, being very British, but I'm not plummy and eloquent like the royal family. And I can honestly say that when you're in their presence, that is how they sound. So on the few occasions when I've met them, and I've met quite a few of them actually, which is really nice to be able to say actually at this point. But listening to the Queen speak, she does speak like that. Listening to the Duke of Edinburgh, he spoke like that. So did Prince Charles, Prince Andrew. They all do speak like that. And that leads me on to my next point of how I don't feel that the actress who is playing Princess Diana is worthy of the role. Obviously, I'm offended greatly that she's Australian. I just don't understand the casting premise of that. Why would you? Why? Why cast an Australian into such an English role? I think it's offensive to have done that. So, but putting that aside, I went into the series going, well, look, I love the series and I'm just going to enjoy it. However, the actress that plays her doesn't have that plum sound that the royal family does have. Now, Princess Diana was Lady Diana before she was princess. She was already aristocratic. She already was involved with the royals. Her grandmother was to go and stay with the Queen. Her parents, her sister married someone amazing. So the fact that she doesn't speak as well as they do indicates that they actually picked the wrong actress. That's my first thing. Secondly, Margaret Thatcher, I just want you to know, I remember when, this is child memories, but if you look at pictures of Margaret Thatcher, her hair was not that big. And again, they've chosen an American actress to play Margaret Thatcher. So what you have is this kind of cartoon figure of Margaret Thatcher. It's like watching a cartoon, a characterization, this really weird. They've made her hair massive, and Gillian Anderson is the actress playing her. She's working so hard at copying the mannerisms that actually you're not getting anything more than a 2D kind of cartoon. That's how it feels when watching it. And again, why didn't you get someone from the UK? Why didn't you get an English person to play Margaret Thatcher? I don't feel that an American can do it justice. And it's a shame. So there we go. Total slating of a series that, by the way, I just want to say I am loving. But I really love hearing what other people, not from the UK, are thinking of it. And listening to Ray, it was just fascinating. And I was like, did your wife like it? And which bit did you like the best? So tell me what you think of The Crown. Even if you're English, tell me. 4215. Drop me a little WhatsApp now. You can be as rude as you like, because we are kind of quite open in the UK, and the royal family do get slated. I don't mean, be really nasty to them personally, but tell me what you think and how you feel about it. Maybe you think that we shouldn't have a royal family because they don't actually rule the country. They really are just sort of figures of state. They are head figures. But tell me what you think, because it would be nice to hear everyone else's take on it. 4215, Anna Schofield, can't say my own name, heading things up through till 8 o'clock tonight on Yalla Home at Pulse 95.
It's Yalla Home. Yalla Home.
With Anna Schofield.
And Big Hass.
And actually, it's just Anna Schofield right now through till 8 o'clock. Big Hass celebrating his beautiful wife's birthday. Somewhere in the UAE, they are having a staycay, and I'm horribly, horribly jealous. Do you know what I've been looking at tonight? I was flicking through we're live on YouTube. If you want to see what's going on in the studio, feel free to take a look. You can go to YouTube, Pulse 95, and you will find us there. Because that's what we need. We need cameras on us the whole time while we've got headphones and we're gassing about various things. But it's really nice sort of looking around and seeing, as soon as the music comes on, the cameras go off in the studio and you get these wonderful images and this fantastic footage of Sharjah. And, obviously I've been here 2.5 years now, and so I'm familiar with Sharjah, but I wasn't massively before I arrived. And it's so beautiful, and you really get such an incredible view of it. It's mesmerising. It's the kind of thing you actually should just have on in your house, apart from the fact that you get me every, 5 minutes. Of course you want that. Or maybe you don't. That's the time to switch it off. But honestly, have a look, check it out. Go to Pulse 95 on YouTube, and you will see how very, very beautiful Sharjah is, because until you see it in its glory, you don't know. All right, coming up in this hour, I'm going to be doing the music greats. Love this. So I've whipped a song out from 1985 tonight. Who knows, hands and feet in the air, who knows a song called Road to Nowhere by Talking Heads? Do you even know of the band Talking Heads? They're properly out there. They're kind of weird mix of funk, punk, rock and pop. All sorts of weird stuff. New wave, very clean cut kind of a band. But the song funnily enough, I remember the song at the time, but I'm only little. It was when I didn't really know what my musical sound was. I was just listening to anything in the charts. You go through that spell. But more than that, I've been watching old reruns of Gossip Girl. Yes, don't judge me. I love it. And I was watching reruns of that, and they had Talking Heads' Road to Nowhere in there, and I just thought, this song depicts 2020. It completely reflects it. We are literally on the road to nowhere at the moment. We can't organise or plan. We can't travel. We're in that kind of, shall we, shan't we? Are we allowed to go out? Should we go out? What should we be doing? So anyway, I'm going to be talking about that song next. I'm also going to be talking about Ed Sheeran's Spinning Man demo. He did it when he was 13 years old, bless him, and it's out in the open. And also touching on the giant marine sanctuary to surround the world's most remote island. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. I want to go into detail. All coming up in this hour through till 8 o'clock. Don't leave me, Anna Schofield, on Yalla Home on Pulse 95.
It's Yalla Home. Yalla Home.
With Anna Schofield.
And Big Hass.
No, they're lying. Big Hass is not here tonight. His wife's birthday has taken him away, and I hope they're having a gorgeous time. Actually, I texted him. He says they're having a blast. So that's lovely to hear. So Anna Schofield on her own, 4215 if you want to chat, and I'm here through till 8. Okay, so I read this article today and I went, tell me. When something, it's almost like it's flicking your nose and you go, all right then, show me what you think. And then I read it and went, yeah, guilty of all those things. The article was 10 things I never did until I became a UAE mummy. And, obviously I don't mean to alienate men right now, but I pretty much feel a lot of them can be shoveled over to daddy's side as well. But it's quite funny when you read them. Some of them not so much. So the first one was coming down with a case of nursery rhyme-itis. I remember when my kids were young, everything was a nursery rhyme. They get stuck in your head. You wake up thinking about them. You walk around the house. You find yourself singing a silly ditty, like the shark song, the shark fin song. Oh, like once it's in your head, it doesn't go out of your head. And the thing is, nobody wants a nursery rhyme going through their head. Right, hang on, I've lost the list. This is great. This is how it rolls here. Let me just flick through. Oh, great. Hang on, stand by, everyone. Without the list, I can't do it. So I've just got to get the list back up. This is really funny. Coming to you live. Talk amongst yourselves. So yeah, nursery rhyme-itis, they were calling that. The second one is about power napping. And this just was something that I learnt to do. Right, I'm back in. We're all fine. Taking cat naps, that's what we call them, taking cat naps. You see, if Hass were here, I'd be saying, do you call it take cat naps? But cat napping. So the whole thing, the whole concept of literally a 10-minute nap never really crossed my mind until I had a child. And then a 10-minute nap, it was like having an energy drink, honestly. And I think it carries through as well. If you have kids, you're going to know what I'm meaning. This one's quite funny. Embracing having a mummy body. And that's something that happens. There's something that happens to you, when you've had children. And there are bits of you that you go, that wasn't like that before. And, nature punishes you in ways that you go, it's just not fair. You have to work to get things back. And that's fine. But it is a work in progress. And if you're a new mum, by the way, don't punish yourself. Please don't punish yourself. Give yourself a couple of years. They do say, and I'm just saying this because when I read it, I felt so much better. It actually takes your body 18 months to recover from having grown a human. So take a chill pill. Don't look at celebrities who have dietitians, trainers, and work really hard to get themselves and flip themselves back into shape. Do not do it, because I remember flicking through and reading all the, this person has taken a month and they've got their body back, and it makes you want to just go and eat more, to be quite honest. One of the mums has said, I've started talking to strangers. This happens when you have a child in a pram and you start walking around. They're obviously cute. Babies are cute. Children are cute. Strangers talk to you, but also you talk to them. And it's something that you don't do before you have a child. You don't walk up to a stranger and start chatting. Well, Hass might. Hass has always been a bit like that. He loves chatting to strangers. But I didn't. I used to get on with my business. But you will get asked random questions by strangers, and it's fine. You sort of go along with it. One of the mums has also said, since they've been a UAE mum, they paralysed their phone with photos. Yeah, it's completely addictive. You take photos all the time. But as with me, I would try and get the baby in, but not just, or not me, like just the baby. That was my favourite thing to do. New eating habits. This is definitely something. Who, hands up, who eats while standing, or packs a lunchbox, or eats while tidying up after breakfast, or eats while getting a toddler dressed? These are things that you literally learn to do. Eating while putting makeup on, you would learn to do it because time is so precious when you have toddlers running around that you don't actually get time to do anything. So you eat on the run. You develop, another mother said, a love of cartoons. Now this is quite funny because I didn't have a love of cartoons. Then kids arrive and then you get engrossed. I mean, Scooby-Doo, it's pretty good, you know. And that's quite funny because I noticed that my husband was all over the cartoons. For him, it was an excuse to sit down and watch TV. Absolutely loved it. One of the other waitresses said, everything end in a Y. Yeah, you start using different expressions and everything has a Y on the end. Would you like to boogie woogie? Would you like to dancey? You know, that I didn't do a lot of that, I got to be honest. I wasn't that mum. But you hear other mums saying it. They call things and they put a Y on the end. So it's no longer just a phone, it's a phony. Do you want to play with the phony? You know, it's not a phony. Stop saying that. I didn't do that. I'm moving on. And spill over with love. I love this one. You literally spill over with love. Once you have your child in your hands from the moment they arrive, that's it. You think you love your husband. And I'm just going to say this really, really honestly. And I'm sure husbands feel the same, but you think when you get married that you love your husband and you think that you will never love anything as much. And then you have a baby and then you realise that you were just scratching the surface. And once you have a child, that's it. And I'm pretty sure that that's not exclusive to UAE mums. I imagine it's global mums. But more than that, I also imagine it's dads as well. Because I remember my husband talking about the fact that he felt I was very connected to the babies because obviously they were in my tummy. So I was able to feel them kicking and punching and all that stuff. You know, you grow up with the baby in you. You grow with the whole experience. Whereas dad's kind of on the outside. And he said he never felt as connected. But the moment he held his little girl, he said that was it. And that was when he realised that life had changed. So those are the things that happen to you when you become, and I like the fact they put the UAE in it because it could actually be globally referenced to any mum ever. But it's a nice thing to think about, and especially during this weird time where everything's so strange and actually there's a load of people who are so depressed. Let's think about the nice things. Let's spend some time thinking about the nice things. What time is it? It's nearly 7 o'clock. We are coming up to the news here at Yalla Home on Pulse 95. And in the next hour, I'm going to be talking about all sorts of things. I'm going to be talking about Taylor Swift. She's unable to buy her own music back from Scooter Braun, and that's been a thing that's been raging for the longest time. And I think finally it's come to fruition and she's not able to buy it. And I felt really bad for her, actually. We've also got that giant marine sanctuary. I want to talk about that because there's this remote island in the middle of nowhere. Literally, it takes hours to get there. I would be scared living there. I wouldn't be able to do it. But anyway, they're turning it into the most amazing marine sanctuary. So I'm going to be talking about that too. And if you're a husband and wife team who run a business together, are you? Because apparently this is now called couples commerce. They've got a name for it and everything. And actually our boss, you know, there's something going that they work so well together. But you've got to watch it because it can affect your personal relationship. Keep it here. It's Yalla Home on Pulse 95.
Yalla Home
with Anna Schofield
and Big House.
Let's look. It's Anna Schofield on her own tonight. Big House having a day off. Let's look at couples commerce. Quite hard to say. Budget-friendly business model, but is it good for your marriage? Now, I found this in The National, and it's written by a friend of mine, actually, called David Dunn. Absolutely lovely guy. And I saw his name and went, David, all right, talk to me. What are you doing? Spouses who run businesses together make significant operational and staff cost savings. That makes sense, doesn't it? But they struggle to balance work and personal life. And it's something that I've always thought might be a thing. When I was an actress, I remember thinking I never want to marry an actor because I never really want that kind of competition in the house. I wouldn't mind a writer or a performer or a dancer, but I never wanted to marry another actor. And then when I got into radio, I thought, yeah, I don't want to marry a radio presenter either. I just wouldn't want that same kind of industry. Can you imagine? You just would get home and talk shop all the time. So they've done this study, and this is what the article about. Husband and wife businesses have commonly drawn on the romantic but practical motivation, simply seeking to build the dream together. Okay, so the pandemic has caused all this economic trauma to everyone. Business models are changing. Everyone is having to endure. And so what's happened as jobs evaporate and domestic budgets are tightening, there's this couples commerce thing that has actually come to fruition, and lots of people are doing it. So he talked to this couple and he said, what's it like? How is it being? Not only are they a couple working together, but also the couple in the story are a mother and father. So she was saying, I literally am juggling all the balls. I'm there trying to overseeing delivery logistics for the company and regulatory approvals and compliance and finance, while also having children at home. And she said that she ended up, taking on quite a lot of the responsibilities and things like that. Now, can you imagine that you get to the end of the day, you've been working together, you're juggling the kids, you're juggling the pandemic and everything. You move to the kitchen maybe. Where's the off button? Where's the off button when you run the business together and you've been there all day? And literally they said, there is never an off button. When your livelihood is in your hands, weekdays, weekends, holidays, this couple said literally they blended into one. It just became this seamless work stream. And they had to literally mark out a formal end to the working day because they were working so closely together. And that's how I imagined it to be, because also, when I was young, I grew up in a house. My father was an actor. My mother was a theatrical agent, but even worse, she was his agent. So when she came home from work in the office and we had dinner, and me and my sister Louise and I, we would just sit there dreading it. Daddy would say the famous lines, so, how was it today? Anything for me? And when an actor's out of work, all he wants to do is talk about himself and actually find a job for himself. And you'd see my mum bristle because there probably wasn't anything that he was right for. So she probably hadn't put him up for anything. But then he would say, so who's been up for jobs? And then he'd ask. And you could see that it was building to a row. And then, by the time we were on the mashed potatoes, that was it. Everyone was fighting. And that is the situation. And it was so much so that in the end, my mum said, we need to get you a new agent. We need to separate this because it's just not working. Because he would want to ask. She would also want to say, oh, this actor's up for this today, very exciting project, blah, 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 and tell him about her day. And he would just sit there going, well, why aren't I up for it? It was awful. And that is what's happened. So apparently the pandemic obviously is bringing couples to work together more. So maybe one's got a job or one's running a business, the other one might have been laid off, or it works better with two. But actually it does infringe on your marriage. Very, very difficult. Are you one of those couples? 4215 if you want to. Thanks for all your messages tonight, by the way. It's been lovely chatting to you. Tell me what you think. 4215. Are you a couple that managed to work together and have a happy marriage? Because I do think it must be very, very difficult. It's 12 minutes past 7. Nice having you with me. We're live through till 8 o'clock. Don't leave. It's Yalla Home on Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of Yalla Home, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.